Hello, everyone, and welcome to Kamicuozzi Uncaged. This is our first ever podcast. We've been planning this podcast for months, but we are finally here, getting it recorded, getting it sent out and ready for hopefully to entertain all of you. This is our gym, Kamicuozzi MMA and Fitness. We've been here for how long now?
We've been here over, it's got to be close to 10 years now.
It doesn't feel like
It's
it.
got to be close to 10 years.
It's got to be, but
Yeah.
it really doesn't feel like it. We bought the gym out from my old coach, and then from then on we took it over
Yeah.
and we tried to build it up, and
It's been a lot of changes.
a whole lot of
A lot of
changes.
changes.
And where we're at now is just it's beyond where
Yeah.
we were.
Oh, it's crazy. We never thought, um, back in the day, we never thought of us being gym owners.
No,
And it just kind of popped up.
I didn't think I would even be part of a coach. I remember I used to play like baseball and football in elementary school, and I was all about that. And then it was, do you want to do MMA? Yes. I was super excited for
I remember the day you said you wanted to be a fighter because we were at that fight.
that. I remember that. A dude broke his arm.
That dude busted his arm, and you literally turned around and said, I know what I want to do.
I want to do this when I'm older. But a little more about the gym.
We're located on 224 The Boulevard in Eden, North Carolina. It used to be the happening spot here.
So I've heard.
Yeah, all the old timers will tell us, "Oh, I remember when this was the happening spot," and over time, it's starting to come back a little bit more.
Right.
We got a bunch of things going on as far as food truck rodeos, businesses opening up on the street, people coming in because they just hear about us on either Facebook or Instagram or anything like that.
Business is popping on the boulevard now.
It is.
I mean, this is the place to be, I heard.
You turn. It is now. You turn on this road at night now, anytime, but Monday through Thursday, and it is slam pack on both sides.
It is.
It is. We've got a bunch of people here now.
This is the antique model car of streets. I
That's
believe.
that's what I think.
It's what stands out.
That's what I
It's
think.
you go to a car dealership and you see all these new Nissans, these new Toyotas, but then you see that 1940 Ford truck, aka proper poor. See that? We'll get to that later. You see that nice truck, and you're like, wow, it's just captivating. But you have to go to it to see it, and I think that's where the boulevard is right now. We have so much going on, but it's in the back of Eden.
I agree. All these old buildings, and it's just the way it's set up. You can just imagine what the history was
Right.
back in the day.
But I mean, it's like you said, the business is coming up not only here but all throughout the boulevard, and we've had a lot of supporters. And, a
Oh,
lot
yeah.
of supporters of the gym are either coming to the gym to train or just from the outside. A lot of people have brought this place up.
That's the
Big
cool
time.
thing because it's not just about us. It it's not just us making the gym. It's everyone we deal with,
Right, it's a community
our
thing.
vendors, our obviously the members of the gym.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Now, earlier you mentioned a food truck rodeo. Please elaborate.
We got a food truck rodeo coming in April. What was it? April.
April 25th. She's giving us some
Okay,
sign language over there.
Yeah, mom's talking Navy SEAL talk check. But so so it's April
April 25th.
25th,
And
15th,
oh,
April 15th.
wow, we were 10 days off.
Yeah, so
If you came on the 25th, there might be some scraps.
yeah,
left.
you could go through the garbage cans because you might
Yeah.
be able to find some good stuff in there. But April 15th, if you want the fresh stuff, that's when to be here.
That's when to be.
We're gonna have a ton of trucks. The chamber and
What are we at now? Like 10 trucks? I think we're at 10 trucks now. We're striving for 15, but 10's a lot of food trucks for any sort of rodeo, let alone Eden, North Carolina. Like I said, the boulevard's the happening place
it
to
is. It is. It's gonna be happening that day too.
be. Oh, my stomach's going to be happening, I'll tell you what. We're also going to have non-food vendors as well. I heard.
Yep. Yes, sir.
I am going to be one of those.
Yeah. What are you gonna be selling there?
Are we getting into this?
We'll get into it in just a little
We'll
while.
We'll get it.
Well, we've been talking about this podcast for months now.
Months. I
Months.
remember as soon as we rebranded to Kamicuozzi MMA and Fitness, we started talking about a podcast
Hmm.
immediately.
Yep.
And you know, I remember the next day you were like, "Hey, I ordered some gear."
Just a few things.
Just a few things, and then a big box comes, and it's nine. I'm surprised this desk wasn't in the
I
box.
got a little excited about it.
A tad.
Yep. But
All of this, and we just figured out how to use it.
and we're still
We're
we're
still
still
figuring
yeah,
it out.
yeah. It's either go big or go home.
I remember you posted the picture on Facebook. Oh, what could it be? And I had so many people message me talking about, what is it? What is it? I don't know.
But look, at least now it's becoming reality. We got a cool backdrop.
We had a pretty
Couldn't
cool
ask for a better
backdrop.
backdrop.
Many whoopings have taken
Many
place
whoopings.
on this backdrop.
Goals have been crushed behind us.
Goals have been made behind
Fights
us.
have been won.
Fights have been lost.
Yeah, that's right. And it's
Either way, it's still behind us.
it's awesome. But I was thinking the other day, next year is going to be 10 years since you've been fighting in the cage.
That's crazy.
10 years.
That's a wild thought.
That's a lot of time to have that kind of gym experience, a cage experience at your age. 10 years fighting in the cage is crazy.
It's wild. Actually, at work yesterday, I was talking to one of my friends. He comes here, Wesley. He comes here. His kids train here, and I was scrolling on Instagram. I had a little bit of a break in work, and I saw there was a video. It was an 11-year-old girl making her first walk to the cage. No headgear, no shin guards, or anything, and this was recent. And I got to thinking about it, and I looked at the comments, and all the comments were like, that's a shame. We're halting brain development. But I look back at it, and I was 14 for my first fight, so a 3-year difference. And I get what they're saying from an outside standpoint, but from an inside standpoint, one of the biggest arguments was she's 11, she can't make her own decisions. I don't regret it. I was 14 at the time. There were some decisions I could have made a lot differently at that time, but that one decision, I don't regret that at all, being a 23-year-old man now.
No.
So I mean, I think with this sport, it's almost a certainty, like you want to, right? Like you take football, there's elementary school kids playing football, and it's almost the same risk for that.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
they're hitting each other. There's so many concussions, so many broken bones in football. And again, I'm not hating on football. I think it's fun, but you have a couple referees, I
Right.
believe, but it's split up between
How
30
many players?
kids. Where in this one you have one referee for 2 fighters.
Right. And
Right.
a lot of the different promotions that we were going to. I want to say now, I don't remember seeing a lot of younger kids fighting.
Right. There's not a lot
I think
unless you go to like Thailand.
right, right.
They start all of
But
them at 2.
when you were doing it, it was you and a handful of other kids
Yeah.
that I can remember that started doing this, and it really, I think it opened up. You guys opened up this sport for a lot of young people.
I'd like to think that'd be fun. I know there were youth fights before I started, fighting. I mean, it happened way before, but
I don't think it was to the caliber like Fight Night Challenge,
Fight Night Challenge.
where you got your start.
yeah. And I remember, throughout Fight Night Challenge, I had 3 opponents in 4 fights, which is cool. Yeah, I mean, for being younger than 18, I feel like that's a fairly decent amount of.
Yeah.
I remember I was 14 for my first one, and he was, what was he, 16 or 17?
He was 17.
Yeah. So that was there wasn't a big range of kids that wanted to
Right.
fight, teenagers that would fight.
And now we fast forward to all these years, we still compare all the new promotions that we go to Fight Night Challenge.
We
Just because the
And it's
people there.
stuck with us,
Yes. The
We
way
still
they had
keep
it set up.
contact with
Yeah.
them.
Oh man, we're lifelong friends now.
Yeah.
From all the way from Charlottesville, Virginia. We brought, I forget how many people came
It
to
was-
support.
It was close to 100, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, it was incredible. But the people that we met there, the way they had it set up,
Yeah.
it wasn't all about it wasn't all about that night. It was before and after. They'd keep in touch with us. We'd talk. Of course, we're Facebook friends.
Yeah.
If you're not friends on Facebook with anybody, then you're not friends at all.
You're not friends at
No,
all.
but we still keep in touch with uh, mostly everybody there.
Yeah.
But now we compare it to,
Because that was our base.
that was. That was, and we just made lifelong friends over there, and really,
Right.
really opened up our eyes to the sport.
I know they still message us and comment on things. Good luck, do your best,
Yep.
stuff like that. Praying for you, and it's just cool. It's cool that they've stuck with us and we've
And
stuck with
and they
them.
came to a lot of people from the other promotions now
They come to
follow
the
us.
fights.
They come to the fights.
Yeah,
And
it's
just,
awesome to see
oh
them there.
yeah, it's outstanding. And that's the one thing about this sport. You got two guys that are, well, they're going in there to kill each other.
Right.
They want to beat each other up, but in the end, you can have a beer with them at the end. You can talk. You become
Exactly.
friends. You guys could be friends before you fight.
Like I took a selfie with my last opponent.
Yeah.
He. I try to be friends with my opponents. It's business in there,
Yep.
right? You have 9, 15, 25 minutes of business.
Right.
But in and out of the cage, it doesn't matter.
No.
Like we train in here, and granted, we don't go. We go light most of the time, but sometimes we'll get a hard round, and we're all friends in here.
That's the famous line you hear in here. Hey, let's
go light.
Yeah, let's go light. And then,
As soon as somebody, you're going 40%. As soon as somebody gives 41, then the count starts. We're going up.
So that's pretty exciting though. Next year will be 10 years that you have in the cage,
Right.
and at
feel like-
23 years old
I feel
right
like we should
now.
have a cake, like an anniversary cake.
Yeah, but to be fair, you think you should have a cake for it's Wednesday.
Yeah,
I
this
should
is
have a
my
cake.
10,000th consecutive Wednesday. I need a cake.
Now, I don't think that fighting's for everybody. Matter of fact,
It isn't, and that's, I think, a lot of people. I think that's the intimidation factor of joining an MMA gym, is they see MMA and they're like, I don't want to be a fighter. You don't
Yeah.
have to be.
everyone thinks they're going to take a punch in the face.
Yeah, you don't
when they
have to.
come in here to
we-
exercise or train.
We've had, New Year came along, and we've had an influx of newer people join,
Mhm.
and I'm actually very thankful they've stuck around for this long, because there's been so many times people will come for like a week and they'll love it or claim to love it, and then the next week they're gone. But this, the new members we've gotten recently have, grown to be, something you expect to see.
Yeah.
Like Kyson, Kaylee, and Cameron.
Yeah,
you
awesome
expect
family.
to see them all the time. They're very hard working. They just did a competition, and then they have another one at the end of the month that they're going to do. I think it's
Yes.
might be good or fight to win, or no, not fight. It's good fight. I believe.
I think that's what it's called.
But we'll look into that definitely. It's in Raleigh.
Yeah.
But yeah, and everyone thinks, oh, I don't want to be a fighter. I don't want to be a fighter. But again, you don't have to be. Like, how many people train here, and then how many people have fought out of
Yep.
here?
And you see how many people that, you start looking at the aspect when you started fighting. Now we have these kids that have been with us since, some of
Since
them,
I started fighting.
since 4, 5
Yeah.
at the time. And now they're getting to that age where, they walk in here and they're like, hey, how you doing? How
Yeah.
you doing, Mr. Tom? I'm like, my God, what happened to you?
I'm not old, but it makes me feel old.
Yeah, but now this is that's the next generation.
Right.
It's the
And it's crazy that, my generation is, it feels like it's just starting.
yeah. Yep.
But they're right behind us.
Yep.
Like, that's the next generation, but we're almost neck and neck.
Right.
It's crazy, I think, how far ahead they are
Oh,
compared to previous generations.
it's insane. You see like Tyler Kendrick, you see the Blizzards. It's
Oh, my goodness, both of them.
oh, they're insane. And these kids, they stay. It's so important for kids to be busy nowadays.
Yeah.
That's one thing because it keeps them out of trouble. But when they're there, just not to have someplace else to go, and they love what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like now, now's wrestling season. You hear of all the Kamicuozzi students
Yeah,
they are killing it.
they're
They're-
demolished, and we can't take all the credit.
no, not at all.
Right, but we can take some credit.
But I think they go in
I'd
there a
like
little
to
bit more
believe.
advanced.
I think that and confident.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
they're middle schoolers, high schoolers going in with so many years of jiu-jitsu experience versus 1 or 2 years wrestling experience,
Yeah.
right? And now they're piling that wrestling on top, and they have great coaches.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Kyler Wicker, Paul Biggs are two. I remember when I was in Carolina Elite growing up with Kyler Wicker being my wrestling partner a lot,
Right.
and he's really good.
And Jason.
Jason,
Yeah.
but he's that was at Carolina Elite with Jason.
Right.
But so he's not coaching at either
Right.
of the schools at the moment. But yeah, Paul Biggs and Kyler Wicker are killing it. I'll go watch. I'll go watch them wrestle, and because we've got students that are doing it with them, and like I said, they're killing it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Absolutely demolishing it. They're astounding wrestling coaches, just piling on top of stuff that has been ingrained in our students' heads, and now they're adding new stuff to it, and they're becoming creative
Yep.
and becoming their own wrestlers.
Yeah.
And it brings a new mindset to this gym too. So we were able to bring a little bit over there, right? Deliver them knowing a little bit,
Right.
and they're bringing them back, and they're like wiping out everybody. They're
Yeah.
wiping out grown men with their wrestling.
I love seeing it.
It's the best because
It's great.
Tyler and Brock. Tyler's 100 pounds, Brock's 135,
Yeah.
right? And
They have gas tank for days.
they're coming in against these grown dudes that are 200 plus pounds, and they don't know what to do with them.
No. And I think it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And what out of all your fights, what do you think the most memorable one you had was? As far as what was it as a kid or was it as an adult?
Memorable. That one's easy.
I think I know which one.
Yeah, you know which one it is. It was the jaw fight.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, when I was 15, I was 15. I was 2 days before I
Right
turned
before
16.
your 16th
I almost
birthday.
made the cut. Right before I turned 16, I had it was a junior title fight, a Fight Night Challenge, and it was against Oscar Garcia, and he's still fighting to this day.
He's a beast.
He's a monster.
Yeah, he's a beast.
And I'll never forget, going in there, I had wrestling preparation because, I was like, this kid has wrestled since kindergarten. Like, he's wrestled all his life. And I go in there, and he's piecing me up, on my feet. I mean, absolutely demolishing me. I wanted to keep it standing because he was a wrestler, but he was piecing me up left and right because I was after the finish. I was after the quick finish. I was sloppy, and I think one of the first hits he threw almost put me out, and I hit the fence, but I think that was the one that cracked me.
I think it is too because you were coming in
Yeah.
at the same time he was throwing, so
Yeah.
it was that much more powerful.
Yeah.
And you could see it on the video.
Yeah.
And
He cracked me, and it broke right here. I think that was the hit that broke right here. And then there was another break here, which I don't know if that was the same hit or a separate hit. But, round one, I remember sitting between rounds. I'd pulled my wisdom tooth out, and
that's gangster.
they gave it to you guys, and you were like, I don't want it.
Yeah, it looked like a gorilla tooth.
Yeah.
It was huge.
And, we sat down, and they were like, take it to the ground.
Yeah.
We got to go to the ground. And
Yeah.
I was like, are we sure? They're like, yes.
Yes.
And I did, and it worked out wonderfully. But, it was just it was a whole experience. And then weeks after, I had my mouth wired shut, and it was just...
Yeah, you got titanium jaw for your birthday. It
There's
was nice.
still metal in here somewhere.
Yeah.
The bone enclosed around it. I don't set off metal detectors yet, but we're working on it.
That's a shout out to Dr. Ream.
Yeah, shout out Dr. Ream.
Yeah, because Mom used to work with Dr. Ream, and Mom called him at about 2:00 in the morning,
Yeah.
saying what their plan was. They're like, "Oh, you'll get in to see a ear, nose, and throat doctor."
Saturday night, and they were like, we'll get this done Thursday.
Yeah.
So I got to sit, I had my head wrapped. Just wrapped. There was no technique to it. It was just like, let's see how much gauze we could put around.
I was praying we weren't going to get stopped on the way home.
I looked like Mary Poppins from a front view. And, they were like, we'll get you in Thursday. So I have to sit here with a broken jaw for 5 days.
Oh, that was a horrible idea.
Terrible. So I remember, we called Dr. Reem and, got me in it was Saturday night we called. They were like, all right, Monday, come on.
Yep.
Come on in.
He did.
And I'll
I'm so
never
thankful
forget,
for it too.
because the lull day, Sunday, I remember just being so drowsy in the car on the way home. We got home,
That was a long ride.
and, I wanted to eat stuff. I was hungry. So I remember having ice cream. And every time I swallowed, this bit where it's broken here, which I still, if I do this, I feel it in my tooth. But every time I swallowed, my jaw would go. Every time it would just click. And I was miserable. So for the next 5.5 weeks, I was wired shut, liquid everything. So I think that, arguably, my most memorable.
That night that was my most. That was the best, worst night as a father I think I ever had. Because at the end, I told Mom, I was like, look, you're going to have to drive home tomorrow. I said, I'll stay here with you, with Tommy tonight. And the whole time, I'm like, I can't believe we signed him up for this. I can't believe we let him do this.
But, even to this day, I don't regret that.
No,
Right?
no.
Like, even to this day, and it got around. Like, word got around. For months after, they were like, hey, weren't you that guy that broke your jaw?
Yeah.
That's me.
Yep.
And I thought that was the coolest thing.
Yeah.
I was so, I felt very blessed to be able to come back, and everybody was like, hey, aren't you that guy?
So, what we plan to do now, so we have, well, in future episodes, which we're going to be on Spotify, we're going to be on YouTube,
Yes.
right? And of course, we got the Kamicuozzi Uncaged page now, but that's also.
Are we doing the Kamicuozzi Uncaged page, or are we going to do it from the gym page?
We'll probably, you know what? We'll probably do it from the gym page just so it's easier to manage
I
because.
think so. Either way, it's Kamicuozzi.
Yeah.
We're just going to search that.
Yeah, on Facebook.
It'll be good to go.
But we plan on having, Eden's such an awesome community. There's a lot of stuff that we do outside of the gym that has to do with Eden.
Yeah.
We deal with so many businesses. I mean, we get our haircuts in Eden. We get our food in Eden.
Yeah.
Go to the restaurants in Eden. Eden's an awesome place.
Awesome.
We have Eden PD here.
Yeah.
Working out with us.
Yeah, a bunch of Eden, Reedsville.
Yep.
Danville.
Virginia is big.
Where's Cliff?
So
again?
Henry County.
Henry County.
So,
I mean, all over.
but what we would love to do is not only have the business owners on here every now and then, talking about their business, local business. Some of our gym members.
Yep.
Especially law enforcement.
Oh, absolutely.
We love our law enforcement. And
that alone is a topic of conversation for
oh
nowadays.
Yeah. If you're law enforcement, you're not training.
You're doing yourself a disservice.
It's like not firing your gun for years,
right,
and needing it and not knowing how to use it.
We've always said, like, it's amazing the amount of people who know so little about fighting. Like, we've grown up doing this, so this has been the norm.
Yeah.
This has been what we know how to do. And so, you take somebody, you take all, I heard this the other day, take all of your fighting, all of your training, throw it out, right? Get rid of it. You know nothing about fighting. You walk into a room, how do you feel?
Yeah.
Uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Nervous.
Yeah.
Right? But, having the training experience that you need, having, again, reverts back to not everybody has to become a fighter,
Right.
but merely for self-defense, merely for protecting yourself, protecting other people. It's good to know what to do.
Protecting your partner.
Protecting your partner.
And that carries outside too.
Yeah.
You want to be able to protect your family.
And it teaches you control too.
Yep.
Right? Like, you get a crazy person. They're not always meaning to cause harm.
Right.
So you can subdue them and kind of hold them until help comes, rather than, you don't know where to distribute your weight, you don't know how hard you're punching, right? And that all comes with learning.
Right, absolutely. So that's just a few of the people. Of course, our vendors.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, Boomer and
Oh
the
my
family
god. Y'all
from
see this hat
yeah,
right
from
here.
Cage Side and Toro. They help us out a ton.
A ton. I
Uh,
mean, we have, the gear wall over there. Half of our lending gear is from Cage Side or
yes,
Toro. The half that isn't is just, donated stuff that people got rid of because they got Cage
right,
Side or Toro gear.
right. It's they're awesome.
I mean, that's 90% of my wardrobe is
They've
Toro,
been with us
BJJ,
forever.
Cage Side. I mean, what was it, after my first fight or my second fight?
It was I believe it was your second fight where they set up.
Second fight.
Yeah, they set up the booth and Trevor
Yeah.
was there
And
and
I
Trevor
mean,
Hayes.
so I remember he was there for my third fight because I remember that was the one I threw the head kick with, and he was like, "Oh!" But they've been with us
Yeah,
forever, and the amount of support that they offer, like Boomer, everybody on that team
yeah,
is insane. Like
right,
you wouldn't expect that from like a super fan, but
right.
it's not support on like a you got this level. It's a support on like a we love you and we're gonna do anything for you
Yeah, oh
level.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
they treat everybody like that.
They're awesome. They're
Yeah,
family.
like every single person I think I've seen Boomer or anyone on the Cage Side team interact with. I don't think I've ever seen a disappointed person
No,
there.
because it's so much more than just a business to them.
All right,
It's a lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle.
Yeah,
It's they're focused on making people
and
happy.
that's the difference. They're there for you on a
Yeah,
personal level.
yeah. Like
Then
I know I can message Boomer right now, ask him how his day's going, and we'll have a conversation.
and we're going to. We got plans.
Yeah,
We got interview plans. You know,
interview
they're
plans
out in
all over.
Durham,
Yeah,
North Carolina. So we have phone interview plans with these guys, and would love to have them on the show.
absolutely. And I mean, speaking of them, you got the Toro Cup coming up.
Yep.
I won't be competing on that one, but we'll have. I know Kaylee's on it right
Right.
now, and then we'll see if anyone else from the gym gets on it.
Right.
But I know from Gracie Burlington, Austin's going to be on it,
Right.
so I'm going to head up there, support and coach where I can. But who goes to Cage Side and Toro and doesn't snatch up
Right.
some gear,
Oh
right?
no.
Like you walk in and you look to the right, and it's like a kid walking into a candy store
It
because they
is.
look around and the mouth starts watering, and you're like, ooh.
They got bags,
What
geese,
I've been
just
obsessed with the new
everything.
Nogi kits they've been coming out with.
They were
I
talking about that your last grappling
Yeah,
tournament.
I try to have a new one
Yeah.
because I think the only ones I'm missing are the Jimi Hendrix and the Wolf one. But they released the cherries and eggplants. I got the coffees and Kimuras.
Yep.
I got the wave one.
Right.
I got the camo one. Oh, the camo one's sick.
It
Like,
did look pretty good. I seen that the other
I
night.
saw it online and I was like, oh, that's really cool. And I saw it in person and I was like, oh. But I think my favorite has to be the cherries and the
Yeah,
eggplants. That's,
they have some great ideas.
and they just released like 4 or 5 new glove sets. They just released 4 new gis.
That
They're on it.
they're dropping bombs now.
They're
They
on
really
it.
are. They got some good stuff.
They really are.
But
I
you
try
know,
to. You'll look at my story on Instagram, and it's just like Toro, 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 dumb picture, Toro, Toro. It's nonstop.
Yeah, but you mentioned Burlington. We'd
Yeah.
love to have Burlington
That'd be great. It'd be good to have like Spencer on, or
Yep.
Austin, or
Right.
Matt
and
trains
Capital,
up there. Capital would be
Capital as
having
well,
Chad and Paul on would
which
be
is great.
absolutely awesome. We have a whole friends group up there, but let's get into a little bit about you. Who is Tom Quasi?
So
And then we'll do Tom
I,
Quasi.
I I got started. I got started a little late. Unlike you,
Well,
unlike you, I didn't come out, walk in and be like, you know what, I think I want to fight. But had me a couple fights, and it was awesome. That was I wish I could have started so much sooner.
right.
And but the important thing is, I I learned to love the sport right there. Training was one of the hardest things I had to do because I was working nights at that time. You come into the gym, you work out, and you're like a zombie.
Yeah.
But trying to
And classes are at night too, so I'd imagine you have to work out, then go to work, then come home.
yeah, like I when I said I'll fight
Yeah.
after I went through my whole 3-week probation period where they're pushing me.
Yeah.
After I said I'd do it and we lined up a fight, even the days that I was working, I'd wake up, at whatever time it was, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
I'd go out and do my exercise because knowing I had to be at work that night.
Yeah.
But, obviously the nights that I had off, I would wake up, go train at the gym, but you don't recover like you used to. And you
I'm
hit
experiencing that now.
yeah, you hit a certain age and it's a struggle. You're riding the struggle bus that whole time. And but now as a gym owner, as a coach, you still you got struggles.
Right.
They're just a little bit different. Mine was trying to stay healthy. I'd just coming off shoulder surgery
Right.
and bicep surgery, and it's been almost a year now where it's been a struggle trying to get back.
Right.
But I am back. I'm coming back.
You're back.
Yep. And training is a little bit different, but
Right.
it will get there.
It'll slowly return.
It will.
Yep.
I'm enjoying watching you take the reins a lot, and you're being the coach, you're being management, and you're also being a fighter. You're also training these guys as far as the jiu-jitsu goes for the tournaments. You get them ready. It's not all about the fighting, but you're working with the brand new people all the way up to the Genos and Mike.
Yeah.
These guys that are wanting to start, getting into the
Branching
jiu-jitsu.
out, you're right. And I think it's because we've been there.
Right.
Everyone starts, right?
Right.
I think one of the worst things that I've heard is like, I want to get into shape before everybody starts.
Yep.
Right? You got to get into shape by starting.
Yep.
Right? And that's how you get. If you don't start, you're not going to get into shape.
Right.
So these people that are like, I'm going to get into shape first. You can't unless you start.
Right.
So that's, we've all been there. We've all been beginners, all been starters. We've all had someone to help us. We've all had someone to look at us and be like, no, you're doing that wrong.
Right.
Or, you're doing that right. Good job.
Right.
And, it's because of that, because of, we've had so much influence in our lives. So much coaching, so much, just friendship, teammates, that now we can be like, okay, I can help you. I now know enough. I'm comfortable enough to help you in this situation that I used to be in.
Right. Right.
And I think that's where the transition from fighter to coach comes a little easy, because we've been there.
And that's the cool thing about our gym too, is all the coaches, with the exception of Mom, have been our fighters on all different levels.
Yeah.
Mom.
And all different types of fighting.
So
too.
those
Like,
of you
we've
that
had
don't
Thai
know
fights.
Connie, she works as our communications with promotions, with our vendors. Of course, she's the first smiling face you see when you walk into the gym. And,
She's giving her best smile.
yeah,
right
and it
now.
looks like it hurts, but she's doing it. And she keeps us all straight. She keeps track of everybody's weight, and she does kickboxing. She does jiu-jitsu. She teaches kickboxing, and I think every now and then
we're gonna work on teaching jiu-jitsu. We're getting there.
Yeah, we're getting there. But she does a great job with the kickboxing, and let's not forget wrapping hands. Yeah, well,
she's wrapped my hands for every one of my fights.
yeah, and we'll go. It's funny because we'll go in the back, and you always tell when Mom's wrapping hands because there's a crowd standing around you guys.
Hey,
like,
my coach didn't come, or
yeah.
hey, we didn't bring any gear. Would you mind wrapping my hands?
That's really cool. I
Yeah.
never thought about wrapping hands like that. And these are coaches that have been doing this for years.
I think. How many fights has it been now that somebody has asked you to wrap their hands? Everyone. So what's that now? Like 13 fights?
Yeah, it's an art, and
Yeah.
she makes it look.
She mastered
easy.
it on the first one.
Yeah.
Like she had that down, and then now it's routine.
Yeah, and it looks
It's
looks
like brushing
perfect.
your teeth in the morning. It's just something that's known.
But it's just been great, and I can't wait to see what the future holds. You got big things coming up too.
large things.
You got some big things coming up. You got engaged.
Got engaged.
Darlene,
That was at Disney World. She's also over there giving me her very best smile at the
who
moment.
she is very important to the gym as well.
Yeah, she's been helping a whole lot, and she helps keep track back there behind the desk. She's currently hiding behind the desk, and she trains out here too. She's a 3-stripe blue belt in jiu-jitsu.
And she's originally from Capital.
She's originally from Capital MMA.
And you guys didn't you guys meet at a U.S. Grappling?
We did. The funny thing is we both competed that day, but we didn't. Obviously, we didn't meet on the mats.
Right.
But she and I.
That
would
have been cool if she was your opponent.
Oh my god, dude! I'd have suplexed her
Slammed
into
it.
the mat and been like, "Do you want to go get tacos?" She'd be recovering on the ground like this, too stunned to speak because you see this handsome mug. But we met at, it was a U.S. grappling tournament. She was actually my table worker. I was reffing at the time, and it was funny.
So she was like keeping score and stuff.
Yeah, keeping score. Keeping the time. And it was funny because again that day we met. Mom was like, "Hey, can I get him real quick?" Because after a match, and she was like, "Sure." And she was like, "Hey, your car got repoed." I was like, "What?" That's another story for another day.
I remember that. What a nightmare.
Oh my god, that was the most confusing thing ever.
What a nightmare. I remember that.
We'll get into that another time. But yeah, so we met then.
I forgot all about that.
She offered me her lunch that day, and I think that's the moment.
Did you take it?
I didn't actually.
Really?
I didn't.
Wow.
I know, because I wanted her to have lunch, right? I didn't want to take her lunch, but it was a busy day. Like, it was a lot of competitors for U.S. grappling, and I was just about to eat, and there was a mat that didn't have a ref, so I was like, I was called. They were like, "Hey, would you want to do that?" And I was like, "Sure." They didn't know I was eating,
Right.
but I was like, "Sure, I'll go do that real quick." So I got to eat like half of a cookie that day, and I had like a granola bar in the morning. So now, we're nearing 7, 8 at night, and I'd eaten just that all day. And, I talked to Darlene I said, "I didn't even have lunch." She was like, "You want some tacos?" And I was like, "Nah."
Man, that's where you knew it was love.
That's where I knew.
She offered you food.
I had the ring
it was over.
popped into my pocket at that moment, and I was like, she might think it's too soon. So, I hit her up, with one of my smooth lines on Facebook. I was like, "Hey, I made this face too." I was like,
and she still went out with you.
"Thanks for being my table worker."
That face.
And from that moment on, she's just been following me everywhere I go. She just absolutely can't get rid of her.
Yeah,
so
she's pretty awesome. I won't tell her that,
she's
but
all right, she's all right.
Hopefully she won't listen to the podcast.
I hope not.
So this particular episode is a lot different than what our future episodes are going to be, because we just wanted to do kind of an introduction, what we're about, who we are, and we're gonna actually turn it over to one of the last things that we're doing here. By the way, Tommy made that.
Yeah, let me. All right, so this right here is ready for the most imposing sound ever. It's hard. That's how I intimidate opponents. Is I bring my water, but it's loud.
Stop.
I didn't mean to do that last one. But I got Darlene got me a 3D printer for Christmas, and this has been one of my favorite gifts ever. I actually meant to bring some figures in that I've been printing. I'm gonna bring them in next
we'll
time
bring
if
them
I
up.
remember.
Yeah.
But going back to what we're selling at the food truck rodeo vendors, these are gonna be not these, but I've been playing with it and trying to figure it out, and I'm slowly but surely getting it. It's not the printer itself. I put that thing together. I thought it was gonna be quick. We got home. It was 11 p.m. and I was like, I want to get this together because I didn't put it together. Excuse me. I didn't put it together the last day. So this was the 27th, right after Christmas. I was like, I want to put this together. I was super excited for it. So I started putting it together. 2:30 a.m. and I finished it. I look like that picture.
And a lot of curse words later.
I'm sure. You know that picture of like Squidward, and he's all like,
Yeah.
That was me. And then I was like, well, I've got it up, so let me get to printing. And I started, and I couldn't figure that out. I was like, we're gonna wait. It's 3 a.m. We're gonna wait. And I got the printer figured out, and that took me a minute. But now it's all the computer programs and getting everything made. So I figured out how to download templates.
Yep.
I figured out how to turn pictures into 3D models. And so what it did was the lettering it gave me, and it put it on this platform, and then I put the block underneath it so it'd have something to sit on, because
Yeah,
otherwise
pretty
it'd just be a
cool.
bunch of movable
Yeah,
letters.
that's pretty cool.
And you'd rearrange it like we do Mom's Christmas decorations. We'll get into that another day as well. Leon.
Before we get into these questions, I also want to say that we need to have Eden Chiropractic on here.
Absolutely.
Yep.
We need to have. There's so many.
Yeah,
I mean,
Dr. Lusord,
yeah.
Dr. Dabs,
Absolutely.
just all of them. They're
we need to have
awesome.
We need to have Will on with Proper Pour.
Yeah, Will's going to be on here.
We need to have
the coaching staff.
Tony with Corrupted Arts.
Yep.
I mean, we get Joe Tink Tink.
Yeah, yeah.
He can tell the story of how we got Tink Tink as a nickname. I don't think I know that one. I think they just started calling him that, and he was like, okay. But I mean, there's so many.
Oh, it's endless. It's endless. So Connie and Darlene got some questions for us that we did not see. We haven't seen
these questions.
We haven't seen these yet.
All.
And if you have any questions that you want to submit, you can, I guess, give it to Connie on. All right, we had some technical difficulties.
We got to figure it out.
Yeah. Like I said, we're learning as we're going. But we do have some questions here. Any questions that you want to submit? This way we don't see them. This is all, we're going to be shooting from the hip when we answer these things. You can message Kamicuozzi on Facebook with your questions for now. And we'll see where to go from there. But here, I'm going to give you a couple questions. I'll read the first one. The first one says, when you're in the cage, does everything fade into quietness, or does it get staticky?
That's a good question.
From the energy. I'm going to say when I fought, I was terrible at listening. My ears would just plug right up. I wouldn't, I think as the fight went on, they opened up a little bit, but I had blinders on, and that included my ears. Everything just went quiet. And what about you?
Yeah, sort of like at first, I've always been able to hear the coaches in the corner, you and Will. I can hear you guys clearly. At the beginning of the fight, before the fight starts, I get in the cage, I can hear the crowd, I can look around. As soon as the fight starts, quiet. I hear the stomping of the feet on the cage. That's a prominent sound that I hear.
Yeah.
I hear you and Will. And I actually occasionally hear their corner.
Yeah.
And, I'll hear the advice that they're getting. But it's the small sounds, and the sounds are almost intimidating, like the stomping on the cage and like the contact of the punches.
Right.
That's an intimidating sound.
It is.
But I'll never forget, I think the first time I barely heard the crowd was my first fight when I turned 18. My comeback fights. This is fight number 5.
Right.
Came in, and at one point I stood.
And I want to say we brought like 300 to 400. We brought a lot of people.
We filled an entire side.
Yeah.
We brought like 300-400. This is in Danville.
Yep.
And so at one point, he took me down, and I was standing back up, and in the process of standing back up, I picked him up and stood straight up with him, and I had a slam, and I barely heard the crowd. And I went back and watched it. It was so loud, but I barely heard it.
Yep.
And, now I can hear the crowd a little bit better. Not that the nerves are going away, but that I'm getting used to it.
Right.
And I'm used to the environment.
Right.
And, I'll never forget one time, this was, I think, the last amateur fight against Samson. And I heard his side of the crowd going, Samson, Samson. I heard my side of the crowd going, Tommy, Tommy.
Yeah.
And I was hyping them both up. Because
Yeah.
I was so excited. I was like, yeah, keep going, guys. Keep going. And I was so excited. And that was a good question.
Yeah, that is a good question.
I have 2 here. Our second question. After a hard weight cut, what is your first meal after weigh-ins?
And the answer is yes.
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 My I don't typically have a first meal after weigh. I mean, I do, but I don't have a preferred first meal because a lot of the weigh-ins that we've been at have been at restaurants or there's been restaurants close by.
Right.
So it's kind of whatever's there, and I'll tell myself I'm gonna eat moderate, and then I get a burger that has onion rings and mozzarella sticks on it. So it's I've had that exact burger,
Yes,
and I
know.
got cheese fries that night too. But I do try. I try to not eat as much as I can because I can eat,
Yeah.
but I'll eat to where I'm full and stop.
Yep.
I don't keep going because I missed the food. The next night, I keep going because I missed the food.
And that's usually pizza.
Typically,
Just
that's
because
gonna be
it's easiest
pizza.
to
It's
get.
easiest to get. It's there.
You can
and
order
it's
it
quick,
and yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
I want to eat after my fight, and I'll
Oh, yeah.
never forget my first pro fight. I went in, I won, and I got out, and some of the kids in my kids class were there, and all of them came up to me, and they had a piece of pizza on a plate.
That's awesome.
And that was the best gift I think I've ever experienced in my life. Second, no, that's first. The 3D printer, second. That one slice of pizza that my kids' class gave to me,
That was awesome.
it made me realize how much I
Yeah.
loved being a coach,
That's
being a
great.
teacher. Because if they're going to keep bringing me pizza, I'm going to keep teaching them.
That's great.
Did you have a preferred?
I ate like a slob after both of my weigh-ins. I had
And you felt it too,
my
didn't
my,
you?
my first fight. No, my second fight. I had 2 Nutty Buddies and the thickest peanut butter sandwich, and that was before my meal.
You're like a
That
dog.
was like, yeah, that's like me. That's like me walking off the scale.
You couldn't put your mouth.
Yeah,
in it,
like
it's
I don't
just
know which one to.
full of
Yeah,
peanut butter.
I don't know which one to. Should I put it all in at the same time or? But it was I ate like a slob,
I did
and I felt it too.
before the first Ultimate Battlegrounds fight. This was my second pro fight. You know, the worst part about fighting, and I'll always say, is dieting for me, because I think it's not a matter of you could eat every once in a while. You know, do this to be healthy, which I should, but it's a matter of, you know, you have until this date to cut this weight. You have to do this,
Yeah,
or you know, you're not fighting.
yeah,
Right? So it's you know, you ever been in the middle of doing something and you get told to do that exact thing and it makes you want to do it so much less.
yeah,
Same deal, right?
yeah.
So, you know, I'll want to eat healthy, and currently, you know, there's plenty of time. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to say that I want to eat healthy all the time because I don't. And there's plenty of times where I'm like, man, we could go get Domino's. I have a gift card in my wallet right now. Or like we went to Taco Bell earlier, and Darlene guided me towards the Power Bowls rather than the grilled cheese burrito. And I'm thankful that she did, but at the time I was like, this is dumb.
Yeah.
I don't want this.
Looking back,
But it's the fact that, like, you know, you want to eat healthy, you want to do this, but then they're like, oh, you have to eat healthy, so you're like, well, that's dumb, I don't want to.
some bullshit.
Yeah, I don't want to eat healthy. You're telling me to.
Yeah.
But I did fat boy shopping for my second pro fight, and I am fairly positive the stocks for Little Debbie's went up that week.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
up here. Like, you could have invested in Little Debbie's Monday and made $1 million by Friday. And I brought half of them to the beach. Because we went to Myrtle Beach and I was in my room snacking, and then after the fight we went to the beach that week and I had all my snacks. Dude, I had like 12 packs of Peeps in my backpack.
Yeah, whenever we travel to a fight now, half the load is
Snacks?
snacks. And,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Cosmic brownies?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Alright, we got one more question here. Has anyone ever checked your oil when competing or training? I'm going to go off on a limb and give that one to Joe. But was it? Yes! Yes!
Only when we grapple with Joe.
Only Joe, but
Yeah.
you know, we let him.
Yep.
Not while competing. Not while competing. However, there have been times, I won't mention any names, but when I say the words booty hole man, he knows who he is if he's watching. It was a Wednesday night of fight camp, and we were in here, and it was the first 5 minute round, the first 30 seconds of the 5 minute round, and I'm rolling with him, and he reaches back to like get a hook, right? Like he's trying to hook my leg, but he misses, and
He fish hooked your butt.
he, oh my goodness, he gripped it. I never had nobody grip my butthole, but he gripped it, and immediately has been booty hole man ever since. He's getting better too, and he's getting a lot, not just in jiu-jitsu, but I was walking by him at kickboxing the other day, and his stand-up's really improving. So I said, man, you're moving on up in the world. I'm gonna start calling you belly button man, because you're moving up.
That's awesome.
Anybody
That's
ever
great.
checked your oil?
I can't say that they did.
It's not a fun experience.
I can't say that they did.
I could go without
Yeah,
getting my oil
It's
checked.
something that you always talk about, but you rarely experience it. It's a shame it's got to have a name like that too.
It
'cause
really is,
That's
but
how often it happens.
Right.
Yeah,
It's yeah, it happens way too often.
yeah. But
I think that's
that's pretty
that's
much
about
it. So look, we appreciate y'all tuning in and listening. Next episodes are going to be cool. We're going to be, like I said, it's going to be a lot different than what this one was about. We just wanted to give you guys a little bit of background on what we're about here at the gym, and us, me and Tommy, what kind of background we had. But we're looking forward to next episodes and having guests on and talking about all different kind of stuff.
And like we said, if you have any questions at all, message Kamicuozzi on Facebook, submit the questions. We can include your name with it, or if you want to remain anonymous, that's another option. Be sure, go to the Kamicuozzi MMA and Fitness Facebook page. We're going to like that page. We're going to turn on the notifications. We're going to go to Instagram. We're going to like Kamicuozzi MMA. We're going to turn on the notifications there. YouTube, Spotify, when we post this, we're going to hit that bell. We're going to hit that like button. And we're going to be notified every single time we post, because we're going to have the dopest podcast ever.
Make sure you
heard
share
of Joe
it.
Rogan.
Make sure you share it.
Yeah, share that podcast. Joe Rogan's going to want to be on this podcast.